Hello everyone and welcome on board to Daily Current Affairs presented by SSB Crack Exams for 21st of April, and today's session will be taken by me, Chetan Apurav. Okay, so let's move ahead. And before we move ahead, let me tell you a brief about our portal SSB Crack Exams. So SSB Crack Exams is a one-stop solution for each and every defense examination. For example, AFCAT, CDS, NDA, IAF Airman Group, INET, Territorial Army. We offer a lot of courses at a very affordable price range to each and every defense aspirant. Now you can follow us in various ways. You can follow us on YouTube as SSB Crack Exams. You can follow us on Instagram. You can follow us directly to our website learn.ssbcrackexams.com, where you'll find each and every detail about every course that we offer. You can also choose to download SSB Crack Exams, an app which is available on Google Play Store. Now, so let's move ahead. And before we start discussing today's news, first of all, let me recall the question that we discussed in yesterday's session. So the question was, which team is the recent champion of I-League, right? So the correct answer to this is Mohan Bagan has been announced as the recent champion for I-League after I-League was called off. Right, so this is the correct answer for yesterday's question. Stay tuned for today's question of the day, which will be asked at the very end of this video. Right, now let us move ahead and we'll start discussing today's news. The first news that comes today is about the partial bans to be lifted by government. So the government has decided, the central government, I tell you, has decided to lift bans, but partially. So only certain manufacturing units will be allowed to start their process and production processes from 20th of April. Still, I'm telling you, not every manufacturing units, but very selective ones have been given clearance to start their processes. Migration of workers within the states only will be allowed. So this news has to be taken in a different way, because migration of workers will be allowed, but only within a single state. There cannot be migration of interstate. The government is still working on that. So there is the migration of workers across the states is not allowed. Only within the state will be allowed. Travel by buses, if at all migration occurs within the state, then there has to be they will have to be traveled by bus. And if the traveling is done by bus by the migration by the workers, then it is the duty of state government to provide them food and water. Okay, so that will be provided by the state government concerning. Now the MHA, which is the Ministry of Home Affairs, has also set to register all the migrant laborers which are already residing in the camps and shelters. Okay, so first duty would be to register each and every individual, or basically the migrant laborers who are residing in camps and shelters of the government. Now, this decision was taken after many industries expressed their inability to provide food and accommodation to the workers or the labor force that they have. Right, since manufacturing units will be starting from 20th of April, so of course they will not be able to run properly or with proper efficiency unless they will have a proper workforce. So and also they are unable to provide food and accommodation. So government had decided to allow the migration of workers, but only within the states. Right. Now moving on to our next article, rural areas to open the uncertainty over NREGA workers. So Ministry of Rural Developments has taken decision to open rural areas from 20 April. Now why rural areas only? Because of the concern related to agricultural sector of India. Right, so we cannot like completely lock down our rural areas, because also there is one major reason is that there has not been greater number of hotspots as far as the rural India is concerned. So that has also you can say motivated government to take this step to open rural areas and get back to regular farming and agricultural activities. But the problem is the fact that earlier, if you'll see, MHA on 15th of April has already released an annexure. MHA, whenever I say MHA, this means Ministry of Home Affairs. Annexure, it has released an annexure which says that basically they emphasized on individuals above age of 65 to work from home, because of course the individuals which are having age greater than 65 will have a weaker immune system, so that they are advised to stay at home. But if you look at the chart from NREGA demographics, which is for the financial year of 2019 or 20, uh, if you see the number of workers in the age group of 61 and above, then you'll see that approximately 90 lakh workers are there. So there is still some amount of confusion for this amount of workforce which is above the age of 61, or basically 65 specifically. So there are still a lot of discussions and meeting is going on over this topic. So this was the news. So the meeting was of course done by Ministry of Rural Developments, and one point you must know is the Secretary of Ministry of Rural Development, because the meeting was chaired by Rajesh Bhushan, who is also the Secretary of uh, Ministry of Rural Developments. Okay, now moving on to our next article. Yes, so amid the coronavirus lockdown, nationwide lockdown all across the country, digital transactions in bank has been rising ever since the lockdown has been started. The rise has been observed after the nationwide lockdown due to COVID-19, obviously. Now, this data was released by RBI, and the total value of the data which was released by RBI says that the total value of RTGS here means real time gross settlement. So RTGS transactions rose to 34%. They increased by 34% in March 2020. See, the data of April has yet not been released. But still, only in March, where we had only 10 to 12 days of lockdown, even then the digital transactions increased by 34%. However, if you look at the other aspect of the lockdown, usage of cash or ATM cash withdrawals or card payments, be it debit card or credit card, have been dropped significantly after the lockdowns. Right, so this is the news regarding the digital transactions. Now, moving on to our next article. No relaxation beyond essentials in hotspots. This is a very important news. Health Ministry has given no relaxation. Health Ministry has issued an statement that no relaxation in non-essential services, keeping in mind the increasing case of COVID-19, especially in hotspots. As far as hotspots are concerned, the number of cases COVID-19 positive or confirmed cases has been rising ever since, and they have been rising regularly. Currently, the positive cases at this point is more than 18,000. So this is a very big worry, and by keeping that in mind, the health ministry has decided to still prohibit the production or sale of any articles which does not belong to the category of essentials. That is, if they are non-essential, they will not be allowed to sell. Okay, now focus should be on ground reality and local COVID-19 status. So for example, if any particular district has a relatively lesser number of coronavirus or relatively less chance of getting affected by coronavirus, or if there are any district who have seen zero cases of you can say COVID-19, or which are free of COVID-19, then based on that particular regional status of the effect, the decisions can be amended and it can be changed depending upon the ground reality. But of course, in hotspots, utmost care will be taken off, right? And non-essentials will not be allowed. The main focus currently will be given towards the industries. Especially, I told you about those industries who will be commencing from 20th of April, as decided by MHA, and the farming and the Manrega programs. Right, of course, farming is a very essential activity which has to be allowed, keeping in mind the nationwide lockdown and the food requirements. And of course, this is also the cultivation time, so farming has to be given the utmost importance. And also Manrega program and Manrega, you can say, beneficiaries, because their livelihood mainly and majorly depend upon the income that they get from Manrega program. So that has also uh, that must also be focused upon. That is also something which has to be, which government has to focus on. So these categories will be given more focus and more priority. Okay. However, the public gatherings, educational institutions will still be closed and prohibited. This is a very, very important step to, you can say, contain the spread of coronavirus across the nation. No public gatherings are allowed. Still, everyone is advised to maintain social distancing. The basic steps, or you can say, basic steps that has been advised by the government and the health officials, that has to be taken by and has to be taken and has to be followed by each and every citizen of this country to contain the spread of coronavirus. And also, no educational institutions will be allowed to open, right, until and unless any notification comes from the government. Okay, so this was about this news. Moving on to our next news. DGCA restricts flight booking till government orders. Yesterday, I told you about the fact that Air India, Indigo, and Vistara Airlines have planned to start their domestic flight, but in a phased manner from 4th of May, right? And mainly they were planning to start only in the metro cities. Okay, metro cities first, but DGCA has said that there has not been issued any kind of circular that says that uh, any airlines can start their domestic flight or can start their bookings. So that has been a recent update from DGCA. So this will of course directly affect Air India, Indigo, and Vistara Airlines plan to start the domestic flights, right? So this is a news, and DGCA has given the confirmation that there will not be any kind of booking and no kind of domestic flights will be allowed until and unless there is any government straight orders from the government. Okay, now, yeah, some business news. So health insurance premium to rise due to COVID-19. Now, IRDAI, who also regulates the insurance policies across the country, IRDAI has included new disease that has to be covered in the insurance, which has led to increase in the premium pricing for health insurance companies. See, earlier what happened? Coronavirus was not included in the list of diseases that any particular health insurance used to cover, right? But uh, by government orders, coronavirus has also been, you can say, introduced or included in the insurance, in the the list of disease in health insurance. And that is why, of course, since the number of cases has been increasing, so number of claims for those money health insurance has also increased significantly. And due to that, there has been extra stress on the health insurance companies. So that is why the premium, for they, of course, to minimize their losses, health insurance companies have decided to increase their premium as well. And as per reports, it is expected to the increase in premium is expected to be around 25%, right? This is the amount by which IRDA has expected the premium pricings to be, increased. So this was the news. With rising number of cases, like I told you, rising number of cases of COVID-19 and the number of respective claims for the insurance money, and reportedly high charges taken by some hospitals. Of course, whenever there is a case of health insurance for any individual, private hospitals try to, you can say, gain a lot of money from that particular person, because of course it's not from him or her, it's directly from the insurance companies. So that is how some hospitals also charge some extra money. And this has, of course, produced, you can say, a collective stress over, or collective pressure over health insurance companies, and that is why there could be an increase of about 25% in the health insurance premiums. Now, the next news is a slight good news that is coming from Goa. So, Goa becomes the first COVID-19 free state. This is a very, very important news. See, earlier there was total of 800 people that were tested, out of which only 7 people were tested positive or tested confirmed for COVID-19, right? And out of those 7 tested confirmed were also tested negative in the last round of testings, and there is no cases at all at present in Goa, and it has been declared as COVID-19 free state. So it's a very small news, it's a very small state, but it's a very good news. Every state should learn, every state government should learn and work on Goa model. You can to prohibit or contain the spread of COVID-19 across their region, across their state, across the country. So this is a very good news. Although Goa CM has also announced that government offices will be resumed 100% from 24/2020, that is Monday, and meanwhile, of course, they will be asked to maintain social distancing, right? And of course, all the necessary precautions that they had to necessary precautions that they must take to reduce the spread of corona, or to reduce the chances of revamping of the cases. Okay, now the next decision comes from about Supreme Court. So Supreme Court to be held over video conferencing. Now, since Supreme Court has been closed ever since the lockdown to you can say reduce the spread of COVID-19, so there is a decision that has been taken by Supreme Court that smaller cases, for example death penalty cases or family cases, they will be held over video calls or video conferencing with party consent. This is very important. Party consent must be there. Whoever the parties are concerned with that particular case, their consent is very, very important. The decision comes amid nationwide lockdown till 3rd May 2020. There are two important things regarding these cases. The cases will be heard subject to availability of the benches. If the bench is available, only then the hearings will be done. And also, every hearing must take approval from CJI, which is the Chief Justice of India, right? Before any hearing happens. This is a very, very important point. You must remember this. Now, moving on to our next news. So, non-essentials removed from e-commerce carts. Earlier, like I told you, that Ministry of Home Affairs had decided to, start non-essentials also, especially on e-commerce websites. But government has reversed its earlier decision and now will allow only essentials to be sold through e-commerce website, by keeping in mind that the coronavirus cases have been increasing very fastly in recent days. Okay, but point to be noted here is that among e-commerce websites, 90% of the sales are of only non-essential. So essentials account for only 10% of the total sale, their total sale. So this is a big loss for e-commerce companies for few more weeks, you can say. But it is of course important because this is also a major step to check or to ensure that there is no further spreading of coronavirus across any particular region. In the first phase of lockdown, these e-commerce company had incurred a loss of around $1 billion, which is a huge loss. So see, of course, there are many sectors which have been affected drastically, be it the you can say the tourist sections, or related to tourism department, or related to e-commerce website, related to hoteling and dining, restaurants and all. They have been affected in a very big way. But still, all of these are worth it, because these are the steps which have been taken by the government to ensure that nobody or no more personal gets affected by coronavirus. Okay, the decision was taken to prevent unnecessary spread of the coronavirus, like I said, across the country. Moving on to our next news. So government plans special payments for the workers. So these workers, who are these workers? So these includes behind the scenes workers, for example your garbage collector, or the short term agricultural laborers, or laborers associated with the transporting of essential goods. So the people who are transporting veggies, vegetables, or milk from mandis or to wholesalers or to nearby shops. For those workers, government has planned special payments. Of course, they are very, you can say, uh, uh, unsung heroes of this war against corona in our country. So that is why government has planned to, they have plans to offer them with some special payments. Special ex gratia payments has been planned for them. A district wise mapping of such frontline workers will be done first. Of course, there will be enlisting of all the workers who are working for it. And not to forget also that 1 month earlier, before 1 month, government had already ensured that these workers will be provided with insurance plan, basically health insurance plans, as they are directly exposed to the infections of coronavirus, right? So this is a very good and positive step that has been taken by the government, and this will also motivate these workers as well, right? Now moving on to our next news. So, as soon as rapid testing started, as soon as rapid testing came into the market, it has been started by many states. Recently, Delhi government has decided to start the rapid testing after receiving the kits from the central government. They have recently received 40,000 kits from central government. Then Rajasthan government also decided to start rapid testing as Jaipur and Jodhpur turn into hotspots due to increasing number of cases in Jaipur and Jodhpur. But earlier we have already seen yesterday that Odisha government had already ordered to take 5,000 samples within a span of 1 week time only. This is also will be done by rapid testing methods. So it's good to see that each and every state is concerned with the seriousness of, you can say, this coronavirus threat. So this is a good sign. Now, apart from this, central government is also emphasizing on doing rapid testing, especially in the regions of hotspot, which is very important, right? Okay, so now moving on to our next news. This is not kind of a news, but it is slightly informative news, that role of Arogya Setu app as per the government, or I'll be discussing about the plans of Indian government regarding this COVID-19, this Arogya Setu app. So we all know that it was launched by Government of India, and it is nothing but just a COVID-19 contact tracing app. Okay, and what are the future plans of government regarding this app? So the government plans to incorporate following things: virus related information, virus related services, single point of access for food and shelter, and make it a nationwide telemedicine platform. So government is planning to inculcate, or you can say integrate, these all these functions in just this one app. Now why government is more focused on doing this is because of the fact that after the lockdown gets over, to prevent unnecessary spread, government wants each and every citizen of this country to download this app before the lockdown ends, so that they always will be informed about the status and the trending patterns that has been going on regarding or related to coronavirus in their region, especially, or in any part of the country. Okay, so this is a very good initiative taken by the Indian government that will of course help in controlling the spread of coronavirus. Okay guys, so moving on, now it's a quiz time. So we'll discuss questions in such a way that we revise whatever we have studied today. Now, the first question is, what is the full form of NREGA? Right? And your options are National Rural Employment Guarantee Act, National Regular Employment Guarantee Act, National Rural Eligibility Act, National Rural Eligibility Guarantee Act, right? So of course, I hope many of you might have, of course, many of you know this already, and I have also told this in this particular session also. So the correct answer is, of course, option A, right? Now moving on to our next question, which is the first state to go COVID-19 free? And your options are Sikkim, Himachal Pradesh, Goa, and Kerala. So this has also been discussed in today's session. So the correct answer is, of course, Goa. Right? They had 7 cases and now they have 0. Right? So they had Goa becomes the first state to go COVID-19 free. The next question is, what is the name of the app launched by Government of India regarding all the COVID-19 info? So this I have also discussed. This is the last topic that we discussed upon. So the options are COVID-19 info, Arogya Setu app, Aga Setu app, Rog Khabar. Right? So the correct answer is of course Arogya Setu. Okay. Now moving on to our next question. Whose approval is needed for SC hearings or the hearings in Supreme Court on video conferencing? So this is also a very important question. I have discussed this today only. The options are Judge of Supreme Court of India, any Judge of Supreme Court of India, Chief Justice of India, no approval needed, or only consent of parties enough for hearings to begin. So of course the correct answer would be yes, the Chief Justice of India, because it is necessary for each and every hearing to begin that they must get approval from Chief Justice of India. Okay. Okay guys, so now it's time for the question of the day, and the question of the day is, you have to tell the difference between NREGA and MNREGA, and I hope you guys to please write the correct answer in the comment section below, and we'll be discussing this in detail. I'll be telling you the answer for this question in the next video, which will be on tomorrow. Okay, till then guys, be safe, take care, and have a nice day, and Jai Hind.